His brow lifted. What do you mean by together? We're rooming together. But if you mean romantically together, then no. Exactly what did you assume? I thought you might be gay. If I were gay, I'd have far better taste in men than that wanker cousin of mine. What in God's name made you think we were gay? I don't know. Two handsome men living together in a big house. So if I'm a guy living with another man, I'm automatically shagging him. You're right. That was a hasty assumption. Thank you for the compliment, by the way. I just called him handsome, didn't I? Feeling suddenly hot, I looked toward the produce section. Well, I'd better be going. Before you do, I want to apologize for the flowers he sent your way the other night. I urged him not to. Not everyone appreciates that sense of humor. I shrugged. It was fine. And they were pretty. I was embarrassed at first, but then I ended up laughing about the whole thing. Mrs. Angelini certainly got a kick out of it. His brow lifted. Mrs. Angelini? How do I explain who she is without unloading my history on this stranger? I kept it simple. She's my roommate. Ah, roommate. So she must be your lesbian lover, then. He raised an eyebrow, and I had to smile. Anyway, why do you call her Mrs. Angelini? She doesn't have a first name. Well, she's 70. It's more of a respect thing. It's what I started calling her some years back, and it stuck. She's always asked me to call her by her first name, but I got used to calling her Mrs. Angelini. I see. His eyes seared into mine for a moment. Your roommate is 70. And how old are you, might I ask? 24. What about you? 28, he answered. His eyes lingered on mine for a bit. Listen, we're going to be renting the house across from you for the entire summer. We know virtually nothing about Narragansett. I'd love to pick your brain about places to go and things to do here. Maybe you wouldn't mind coming over for tea sometime this week? Tea? You really are British, aren't you? Guilty as charged. His white teeth gleamed. Looking down at my feet, I said, I don't know. I promise not to take off my clothes. He added a crooked smile. I let out a much-needed laugh. Well, since you put it that way. Tomorrow at 2, then, or whatever time works for you. A part of me wanted to refuse, but why? It wasn't like I had anything more exciting going on. I didn't quite understand whether he genuinely wanted my expertise on Narragansett, or if there was something more to the invitation, now that I knew he wasn't gay. Sure, 2 tomorrow works. Brilliant. You know how to get to the house without having to swim across, I take it? Yes, I smiled. Very well, then. And I promise, Sigmund will be on his best behavior. I can handle it if he's not. This seemingly rich traveler had no idea just how much I could handle. I might turn red when I was embarrassed, but I'd grown a pretty thick skin over the years. That's the way it is when you always had to fend for yourself.
I couldn't deny that her rejection made me want her more. A chase was always arousing. Yet Felicity Dunleavy didn't care to be chased by me. Rather than making up an excuse, she'd very directly told me she wasn't interested. Anyway, he laughed, now your children won't end up looking like they belong to Ed Sheeran. He chuckled. We can find you a replacement for her tonight if you want to come out with me. Frustrated, I ran my hand through my hair. Not interested in that right now. Mate, she's not even a 10. What are you worried about? Are you serious? She's plain. Okay, well, she's fit in her own way, I suppose. She's naturally beautiful, not like the made-up women back home. I'll be more than happy to take some of those girls off your hands when we get back, since you don't seem to appreciate them. He sighed. Seriously, cousin, I think you should forget about the F word and come out with me and Shiva tonight. Shiva? The Persian girl I met on the app. Oh, yeah. Maybe she has a friend? No way was I in the mood for that. I'm feeling kind of knackered. I think I'll stay in. Probably better for me anyway.